Welcome to my 5,000 line JavaScript file. It's a disaster. It's a digital hoarder's nightmare. If I want to find where I define the calculate tax function, I have to scroll so far I literally aged 3 years. Most beginners think more code equals one big file. But the pros, the elite developers, they don't write files. They build modules. Today, we are finishing the JavaScript Basics Series by learning how to break your code into tiny, reusable pieces that actually make sense. No more where is that variable headaches. Let's get organized. Before modules, every variable you created lived in the global scope. It was like everyone in the city sharing one toothbrush. If two people wanted to name a variable name, they'd fight and your app would crash. Modules give every file its own private island. What happens in math.js stays in math.js unless you explicitly decide to share it. To share code, we use the export keyword. There are two main ways to do this: named exports and default export. Think of named exports like a toolbox with multiple tools, and a default export like the main machine. With named exports, I can send out as many things as I want. But I can only have one default export per file. It's the main character of that file. Now, how do we get those tools into our main file? We use the import keyword. But pay attention, the syntax changes depending on how you exported them. See those curly braces? Those are for your named exports. They are like specific labels. But for the default export, I didn't even have to call it logger. I called it log everything. JavaScript just knows it's the default thing from that file. Here is the part that trips everyone up the first time. If you just link your files in HTML like normal, the browser will scream at you. The browser needs to know this isn't just a regular script. It's a module. Adding type equals module is like telling the browser, hey, put on your glasses, we are doing some professional organizing here. Okay, cool. Here we are going to create a small app that calculates a hero's power score. We need 3 files, one called utils.js for helper functions, then hero.js, which contains the data, and finally app.js, which will be our main JavaScript file. Okay, first let's create our toolbox. Inside utils.js, I want to export 2 functions, one to capitalize names and another one to calculate power score. So I'll create a constant capitalize which stores function, receives a string and returns str.to uppercase, and then calculate, which receives 2 parameters, one the level and then the strength, and it simply returns level multiplied by strength. And don't forget to export these 2 functions. As you know, here we are using named exports. Okay, I save it. Before moving forward, let's rename it to calculate power to be explicit. Then I save it. Every hero needs a profile. In hero.js, we create one hero, and since this file only contains one hero, we should use, or we can use, default export. So here, I'll create an object const hero with 3 properties: name, example, either night, level, for example, 5, and strength 10. And then, this is the important part, we should export this object, export default, and then the object's name, hero. Of course, we can have both named exports and default export in one file. Here we just have default export. Now see how clean our app.js file is going to be. We are not defining anything here, we are just orchestrating. First of all, we import our helper functions from this utils.js file, and since we added named exports, we should use curly braces from, and then the file name, which is utils.js. And you see that IDE is helping me here, capitalize and also calculate power from utils.js, and then another import for our hero object in this hero.js file. Import hero from hero.js, and here there's no need to use curly braces because in hero.js we have got default export, right? And this name is up to you, of course. Okay, cool. Then let's declare a variable, capitalized name, and we can use capitalized function from our utils.js, and we pass hero.name to this function. So this function is coming from utils.js, and this hero object is coming from hero.js, right? The next line, this time calculate power. We just pass in the values, and the rest is going to be done by the function hero.strength. And I save it. Finally, we just need to log this info. Console.log. Dashboard. Then here I use template literals. The variable name, capitalized name, should the backticks to here, and then console.log, again backticks, score, which is our score. Cool, I save it, and finally in our HTML file I need to link our script. So rc app.js, and I save it. Let's see. Yeah, we get an error. Cannot use import statement outside the module. This is number one mistake every developer makes. As I told you, we must add type attribute and set it to module to be able to use modules. I save it, and then you see that everything is working as expected. So here, hero's dashboard, then hero's name, Cyber Knight, in capital letters, and finally, the score is calculated accordingly. So everything is working as expected. Perfect. And that's it. You've gone from what is JavaScript in video 1 to organizing complex systems with modules today. You're no longer just writing code, you are building architecture. This wraps up our JavaScript Basics playlist, but the journey is just beginning. Now that you have the basics down, you're ready for the DOM manipulation playlist or the asynchronous JS deep dive. Which one should we do next? Let me know in the comments. If this series helped you level up, show some love to the algorithm. Hit like, subscribe to Elite Tech Club, and go build something amazing. Until next time, keep coding, keep learning, and as always, stay awesome.